someone that would like to farm and the boys don't want to, at least they have that college education to fall back on. Yeah, I want them to have something besides farming.
It's sad. I don't know if you could realize what it feels like to live on the farm and to love the land. It's like loving your kids or your wife, you know, to love the land. It's a different feeling inside you. Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's just a feeling. It just grabs you right inside, right in the middle of you.
I went through a feeling of guilt where, what did I do wrong? Should I have made changes earlier? Should I have tried different things? Yet we're traditionalists. It's hard to change. You've done things a certain way, just like planting in spring and harvesting in fall.
Terry Wagner we'd not met before. He almost went under last spring. His future is cloudy.
We're in a transition period, perhaps.
But still, do you think a lot of people sort of
oh yeah,
blame
very
it on...
much so, very much so. You see lots of depression and guilt amongst farmers. I guess you can compare it to dying or someone telling you have a terminal illness. First you are angry, and then, no, why me? And finally you come to the realization it's not anything I personally did. You can only work so many hours a day and so many days a week, and when the return isn't there, it's just not going to benefit you at all. And once you've dropped out, once you've quit, you'll never get back to the farm again. It's virtually impossible. My grandfather almost lost his
Terry
farm,
has two
but I guess
sons.
until every
The eldest one is in Minneapolis, studying to be a mechanic.
There, you know, no matter how depressed I get, the final question I ask myself is, what would I like to do different? And I still can't come up with anything except I love to farm. I love to watch things grow and produce and reproduce. And that's what I hope to continue to do.
It's gone extremely downhill, tremendously. It's just turned sour.
Remember Falmouth Seeds, one of the largest farming operations in the county? Remember little Brian driving the giant tractor? Well, last year they took a loss of $100,000. Randall Fallman predicts trouble.
And when organizations, they refer to the, if I say it right, posse comitatus, various reactionaries, right-wing individuals, anti-Jew, their feeling, and I happen to agree, that the Jewish people control much of our markets, and I've got evidence to back that up. They're listening to this right-wing faction, and they're picking up arms. They're buying semi-automatic weapons, and I'm afraid that there is going to be some violence, and my guess is that'll come this winter, because it'll be much worse this winter.
This coming winter?
Yes.
How do you feel personally?
Am I ready to pick up arms? No. But am I ready to talk to other farmers and make a stand? Yes. The only way we can change this county tax that we're currently living under is to simply refuse to pay it. Although we as farmers are only 10% of the population, we pay half the tax. And if the farmers get together and say, I won't pay my taxes, we will stop county government, we will stop the schools from operating. And that is the only way that we can draw the attention to the problem. And basically that's what George Washington and his cohorts did, was tax protest.
What do you think of the present administration?
I'm part of the same party, but I don't agree in his philosophy. If myself, as a seedsman, had a plan of attack and how I was going to approach the future, and the economy kept changing so that I had to change my plans with it. In other words, if I had a plan that worked, good. But if the plan didn't work, you had to change. President Reagan's attitude is, this is the way we're going to solve the problem, come hell or high water. And he refused to change his approach and his plan over the past 4 or 5 years. And consequently, it takes a very stupid man not to be able to see that when he took office, the national deficit was, around $300 billion, maybe $400 billion. And by the end of this year, it's $2 trillion, you know. So I happen to think that we've got a movie star president, and he can convince a lot of the people a lot of the time. If any other president would have been in office and had left office with a national debt that was 5 times, you know, they would have crucified the man. But Reagan, for whatever reason, he can tell the world that, yes, the national deficit is 5 times higher than it's ever was, but it's all right. It's all right. I don't know.
I use about a pound and a half of butter, I'll have you know. We keep the dairy farmers going here.
Tonight, we dine at Millie and Arnold Benneke's. Millie is a great cook.
He felt they were right.
We talk and talk, gossips, Glencoe news. Clayton Hussey, the banker, just died of a heart attack. Gene Tyson has moved to Florida. I ask about their son, Brad, the Vietnam protester.
Pretty much within the system now in the sense that he's a business person. He did great in the sales of software, computer software in New York and the surrounding states. And let's put it this way, he's a little milder than he was before.
A little more subdued.
Not quite the angry young man that he was.
Now, Arnold, you're now a lawyer-actor or an actor-lawyer, or how would you define yourself?
Well, let me put it this way, I learned a lot about acting while being a lawyer.
So the company's doing well, huh?
But it seems to depend upon the show. If we have a large cast, then we fill the house. And if we have a small cast, of course, like today, that it's a small cast. But it was a pretty good house for a Sunday afternoon.
Arnold, do you feel that this town has changed considerably since we were here?
Physically, I don't think it has. There isn't any great amount of new construction except new homes. But spiritually, I think it's down. I think this depression that the farmers are in has affected the community, or infected it, whichever way it should be put. But I don't think there is the spirit here that there was 6 years ago.
Obviously, there was a lot of confidence in President Reagan, because I think the community, I know the community voted for Mr. Reagan. But after the election, I mean, we get this feeling or the signal from Washington that everything is going so well. And I don't feel that it is, because I'm judging from the food bank that we have in Glencoe. There are many more people using the food bank than before, and we're one of the most prosperous counties in Minnesota.
Financially, I think that our generation had it much better than the generation since then.
Well, I think our Brad pointed that out very well to us.
Millie and Arnold, I am proud to have become your friend. For me, you represent the best of this country. Generous, smart, dedicated, unpretentious. Great Americans.
Well, I have high hopes for this country, because things that are going on right now can only be characterized, in my mind, as an obsession with greed. And a nation doesn't live long with that obsession, and particularly a democracy. There's good, a lot of good in this country, a lot of good people, and they aren't gonna subscribe to this philosophy of greed that's going on now. It's horrible.